So today we're going to be making some donuts, but we're not going to be making any old donuts. Oh no, we're going to take these bad boys to another level. Check these out. Shortcake donuts. I bet your mouth is watering. So inside these donuts, we're going to have the creme patissiere, or custard if you want to call it that. We're also going to have some whipped Chantilly cream, followed by some strawberry jam, and then finished off with some juicy strawberries. And obviously not forgetting the donut itself. It's going to be nice, light, fluffy, and so delicious. And if I piqued your interest, feel free to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to let you know when the videos are up. And as I totally forgot about Valentine's, don't worry, I've got you folks covered. Feel free to go check out my ruby chocolate tart video. The link is in the description box below. Don't worry, it's gonna melt your partner's heart. No, not literally. Okay, I think I've said what I wanted to say. Let's crack on. So we're gonna start the enriched dough first, and we're gonna need 150 ml of milk, which is 2/3 of a cup. In addition, we want 1 tablespoon of sugar, and then you wanna heat this up to about 35 Celsius or 95 Fahrenheit. Carefully don't go over too much because you could potentially kill the yeast. So while you're waiting for that to heat up, you want 225 grams or 1.5 cups of plain flour or all-purpose flour. And in addition, we want a pinch of salt. And also don't forget to take your egg out of the fridge as it needs to come up to room temperature. You can always run it under warm water to take the chill out of it. Also, we're going to need 50 grams or 3.5 tablespoons of unsalted soft butter. Oh, I guess we're going to need to wait. So once your milk is up to temperature, we want 2 teaspoons of dry active yeast. And then just give it a quick little mix around until it's all dissolved. So it's time to get the mixer out with the hook attachment. So first goes the flour and the salt, followed by the yeasty milk mix, and then pop it onto a low speed. And once it's started to form, you want to next add the whole egg, minus any shells. And then just knock up the speed just a little bit, just to help it bind together. And once it's started to bind together, then you want to start adding the butter, little by little. And once the butter has dissolved, turn it off, and then lightly dust your work surface with flour. And then grabbing yourself a scraper, scraping the dough out onto the work surface. And then dusting a little bit more flour over the top, and then just gently folding it over, pulling it all together very carefully. And you just pretty much want to shape it by tucking it, folding it. And once it's nice and smooth, ready to go, we can actually pop it into a bowl so it can double in size. And also be generous with the flour so it doesn't stick. And then we're going to cling film this and put this somewhere warm until it doubles in size. And next it's time to make that strawberry jam, and you've seen me make this plenty of times. But we've got a pound of strawberries here, which is 454 grams. So cut the tops off, and then all you want to do is cut them into quarters. And the good thing with them being old strawberries, they're going to have more sugar content, which is actually going to be making a nicer jam. And once they're all chopped up and in the pan, you want to add 200 grams or 1 cup of sugar or caster sugar, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, catching the pips with your hand, and then popping this on the stove onto a medium heat, and then giving it a mix with the spatula. And you want to cook this down for about 20 to 30 minutes, just until it's a nice jammy consistency. So instead of twiddling our thumbs, we could actually probably make the creme patissiere next. So we're going to need a medium-sized pan, and we're going to need 500 ml of milk, which is 2 cups. In addition, we want 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Actually, make it 2. And then we're going to pop that onto the stove and bring it up to a simmer. But please keep an eye on it. So next in the mixing bowl, we're going to need 90 grams of sugar or 7 tablespoons. So also, in addition, we're going to need 6... Oh, God, goodness me. We're going to need 6 egg yolks, making sure you keep the whites. And we finally got our egg yolks. And try not get too excited like I did. Just only the one today. In addition, we want 20 grams of plain flour or all-purpose flour, which is 4 teaspoons. And then we're going to need 20 grams or 4 teaspoons of corn flour or cornstarch. And not forgetting that little pinch of salt, but don't go too crazy. And then we want to give that a little whisk until it's nice and pasty. But I think I'm still more pasty though. So once the milk has come up to the simmer, carefully pour a small amount of the milk into the mixture. And then just give it a little whisk until it's all nicely dissolved. And once that's been absorbed into the mixture, just add a little bit more and repeat the process until it's all dissolved in together. And once you've got all the milk in there, it's all dissolved together, you want to pour the mix straight back into the medium-sized pan. And then pop this onto the stove, back onto a medium heat, and then grabbing a silicone spatula and giving it a continuous stir for about 5 to 10 minutes, just until it thickens, cooking out those eggs. And once it has thickened up, you want to cook it for a further 2 more minutes, just to make sure there's no eggy taste in there. And once it's finished cooking, you want to grab a tray lined with parchment paper or a silicone mat and just carefully pour that over the top. And if you're asking me what this is going to do, it's going to increase the work surface area, so it's going to cool down so much more quicker than being stuck together. And then just carefully spread it out just slightly, and then pop an additional parchment paper or silicone mat over the top to stop it forming a skin. And then set this aside to cool down. So your jam should be looking something like this, where it's almost catching the bottom of the pan but not burning. So we can take this off and let this cool down. So as you can see, the dough has pretty much doubled in size now, so it's time to knock it back. So we're going to lightly dust the table with flour, and then just carefully scoop out the dough onto the table. And if you're having trouble with it, you can always use a scraper. And then all you want to do is just pretty much knock the air out of it, so giving it a cheeky little slap. No, don't get any ideas now. So be pretty generous on the flour, just so it doesn't stick. And then grab yourself a rolling pin, and then you want to gently just roll this out to roughly about 1 centimeter thickness. And then you want to grab a tray lined with parchment paper and then just lightly dust it with flour. I said lightly, but quite generously. And then grab yourself a cutting ring, whichever size you want to go for. This is about 9 centimeters, which is 3.5 inches. And then dip the ring into the flour, and then cut the dough into nice little circular cylinders, placing those little discs onto the floured tray. And if you can't cut any more out, then just fold up the dough and then re-roll it and repeat the process. And by the end of it, you should have about 8 and a little donut ball left over for a taster. So we're going to let these proof and double in size, and you can either put a container over the top or flour and cling film, entirely up to you. So the custard has finally cooled down, and we can blend this up now until it's nice and smooth. And you only want to blend this until it's nice and smooth. Careful you don't over blend it, otherwise it will turn quite liquidy. And once the custard is silky smooth, we're going to pop it into a piping bag with a star nozzle. And once it's ready to go, pop it in the fridge. So all that's left is the Chantilly cream, so we're going to whip that bad boy up now. So grab your KitchenAid with the whisk attachment, and we're going to need 2 cups or 473 ml of double cream or heavy whipping cream. Also 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 2 tablespoons of icing sugar or powdered sugar. And then whack this down and put this onto a medium speed until it's nice and stiff. And then once it's nice and stiff, pop it into a piping bag with a star nozzle as well. So the donuts have finally doubled in size, so we can start frying these bad boys off. So you want to grab a large pan, and we're going to use peanut oil for today. So we're going to need 1,500 ml, which is 50 fluid ounces. So once the temperature has pretty much reached 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit, gently drop in one of your donuts so they can start frying off. And you want to roughly cook these for about 3 or 4 minutes per side until they're nice and golden. And also, if you need to press it down just a little bit because it's not cooking on the sides, just hold it there with the spider. Once you finish with the oil, let this cool down for a couple of hours before you strain it off. And there we go. There is our beautiful donuts, fried off, cooked perfectly, nice, even golden color on top. So we're going to let these cool down for roughly about 20 minutes. So they finally cool down. Let's start garnishing these bad boys. So grab yourself a serrated knife and then just carefully cut through the donut. Wow, look at that little beauty right there. Nice, soft, pillowy, just how you want it. Next, we're going to grab the custard and pipe a nice little swirl going around that little bad boy, followed by the whipped cream, and then just a little tiny dollop of strawberry jam going in there as well. For an extra touch, I'm just going to put a few little strawberry crisps on top, just for that nice little crunch. And then just to give it a little finishing touch, just a nice little dusting of icing sugar, or powdered sugar if you want to call it that. And there we go, folks, there is our shortcake donuts, and they're absolute little belters. So we got that beautiful soft fluffy donut filled with the creme patissiere or custard, the chantilly cream, the strawberry jam, and then finished off with some icing sugar, and also not forgetting the dried crisp strawberries as well in there for a little bit of crunch. But trust me when I say you'll be very disappointed if you don't try these. Now, if you want me to do a little bit of a cross section, I can do, but we won't be trying these because I've already tried these before, and plus I'm cutting down the weight. So this might get a little tad messy, but let's have a little go. Oh my goodness me. Look at those little pillows of joy. Just doesn't get any better than this, folks. So that's it for this week, folks. I hope you've enjoyed those shortcake donuts. Oh my goodness me, they are absolute little diamonds. Feel free to try these out. The list of ingredients will be below in the description box, as always. And also, I'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to leave a comment, like, dislike, whichever you prefer. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, feel free to hit that button before you jump on to the next video. And next week, we're going to be back on Twitch, Monday to Thursday, 10 AM Mountain Time, cooking some delightful foods live. Feel free to come and check us out. Link is below in the description box. But until next week, folks, stay safe, awesome, and amazing.